This little boy was going table to table to table in the restaurant. It was disturbing the guests. Well, everything cleared and their business boomed. We sort of touched a bit on sort of the energy of all things. And so there is always energy no matter where we go, and we leave an imprint as well. And
And some of the things that are happening as a child you don't understand. So you're sort of like sat there and you're like, well, what's he doing to her?
special guests, we share the flame. Through every word, we claim our name.
Hey sparklers, how are we doing? So if you don't know me, I am Empress Sparkle, not Spartle, Sparkle. I am a witch, clairvoyant, Hellenic pagan, as well as a soul seer. Today I have a wonderful guest. We've literally non-stop chatting for the last, you know me, guys. Okay, by now you know me. So do like, subscribe, and comment down below. I know we have the live chat as well, so it'd be great to see your questions and I will answer them down below. So Deva, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Absolutely. You're correct. My name is Deva, and yes, that is my real name. I get asked that all the time. That is my birth name. It is on my birth certificate. I am a psychic medium, and I say psychic only because I see myself more as a medium. Basically, I talk to dead people, and I feel like my calling is to help people connect spiritually with their deceased loved ones, to reform those relationships, and for people to understand that death is not final. And that's a lesson I also had to learn. I lost my brother in 2013 to suicide, and there's a lot of life lessons that even we as healers, as clairvoyants, as anybody who's tapped in, we're all on a journey of learning and rising. So here I am looking forward to this conversation and talking about souls.
Yeah. See, so I love this because I don't really get to talk about so like I have to describe and explain a lot to my guests on what I actually do. Because when I say I'm a soul seer, people like,
Mhm.
and they automatically actually go just to the dead. And I'm like, actually, no, it's I see real life people's souls. And one of the things that, when we were having a conversation that I absolutely loved is when you say about the journey, because for me personally, we are really on that and we're all learning about our gift. Like every time I think I've got a handle on my gift, I'm like, something else comes out the closet. And it's like, where'd you come from?
Hmm. Absolutely.
I'm going to ask a really weird question, one that's actually we've not even spoke about yet. What is sort of like the strangest ex I've got to ask this. I don't know why I want to even ask this either, because I don't usually. What is the strangest experience you've sort of had? I don't know why I want to ask it.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. As a child, I grew up in a very small town, and I say town, it was a village, but very haunted. And so I had so many experiences as a child on field trips. We would go to the museum, and there was always a little boy spirit I saw there. And like anywhere I walked in, I would be bombarded with these connections and not understanding it as a child as well. And I moved back there in 2017, and that place, it's my hometown. It still has a special place in my heart. But I think one of the most prolific experiences, if I have to choose one, I did sort of a reading of a space for a company in a neighboring small town. And they were having some interesting experiences happening, and they asked me to come in to see if they needed a clearing, if just to make sense of some of the things that were happening. Their business was struggling a little bit. It was a restaurant, health food store. And so I went in, and it was so interesting because there were add-ons to this 150-year-old building, so there were different things happening in different spots. And having grown up in the area, I didn't know the history of the building, so to speak. And so the things that I was saying, I got right away. There was blood on the floor. There was gambling. There was some sort of secret society. The men would gather and bet there'd be money. And the one of the women who worked there, she said, "Well, you know, back in the 70s, this used to be a billiards place." And I said, "No, I had no idea. I did not." Because back then I was a child and I would not frequent places like that. I had no idea that that would be it. But I was called to below the basement. I had asked if there was a basement, and there was sort of a crawl space basement. And I went and sat down there, and there were seven souls there. And they told me that they were in hiding, but they were being protected. They were, so I sort of got this sense that they were being transported. And I said to the woman working there, I said, I kind of feel like Underground Railroad, like they're being moved very secretly, trying to get them to safety. I said, but that seems odd. I said, I don't even know if that's something that came through this town. Well, sure enough, we looked it up, and it was a route en route of the Underground Railroad.
Oh, wow.
And so that to me hit me so, like, I cried because I thought that was such a remarkable experience for me to have. And so the woman who works there, she goes down once a month and she brings them flowers, and she acknowledges that they're there in that space. So it's really beautiful, and the spirits that I helped move on from that space. There was a little boy who was waiting for his parents, and it was a case of one didn't know the other was
Yeah.
gone, and to reunite them. And so this little boy was going table to table to table in the restaurant. It was disturbing the guests. Well, everything cleared and their business boomed, and it's been booming since then. So it was such an interesting experience for me.
See, for me, I love this because now I can see Tommy, my spirit guide, just went, that's why, in my ear. Because I was like, I don't usually ask this sort of thing. But this for me is actually one of the things that people don't realize, actually, how much they don't even mean to, some spirits which are earthbound and not been able to go into the lights, they don't even mean to actually cause, I don't want to say cause trouble because they don't cause trouble as such, but cause the environment to sort of be the way that we don't expect an environment to be, not as positive as it should. Like
Hmm.
I'm being cautious because I don't want to be mean to spirits. Do you know what I mean? I love
Yeah.
spirits. So it's like he's like, see, this is why we're getting onto energy cleansing. And I'm like,
Yes. Yeah.
okay. And I think this is one of the things because I am massively pro energy cleansing,
Hmm.
like for ourselves, for everywhere, for the space, because it is so important. And there's something actually you said that's really like playing on me. There's about 10 things you most probably can tell. Um, is one of the things that I've never actually spoke about and I haven't spoke about, which you actually said about, was that sometimes, especially child spirits, don't know their parents are passed on. So they get stuck in this place because parents may have moved or they may have been taken to hospital and passed away there. So the parents passed into the light because they're like, surely my little boy or my little girl did. And they've actually ended up trapped, because they're waiting for mummy and daddy still. That
Hmm.
is actually a really important point because I think a lot of people, when I talk about earthbound spirits and, grey soul people often end up here, staying here because of their regret and stuff like that. I think that's another important point because a lot of people say to me, well, why do children spirits stay here? And no, I don't know about yourself, but 90% for me, it is that fact. 90% is they don't know their parents are in the light. They didn't understand the light.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know whether
And
that
I
carry on.
think they don't even understand. that they're dead, that they're like to them it's just another way of existing, and we don't know what we don't know. And yeah, that's it's I think people need to understand there's so many levels to spirits. And it's funny because, people often say, oh, it must be hard to go through a cemetery. I'm like, no, that's the easiest place to go through. Are you
Love a
kidding?
cemetery. I love. Everyone says it to me all the time because I also have a paranormal channel, and everyone says to me, "Go, go," and I'm like, one, the Watchman's gonna kick my ass.
Mhm.
They do not like us filming in cemeteries at all. They hate it. Um, I've done one cemetery, and the Watchman all the way around was just like, and I was like, sorry, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. Um, And number two is what people don't realize is why would they want to haunt their body?
Yeah.
Like the only time they're ever there, I personally find, and I don't know about yourself, Deva, but I personally find the only time they're there is Halloween.
Yeah, that's true. I often say to people, when you go to the cemetery to visit them, you may feel them or sense them there because they follow you there. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're with you at home, and they come with you. And I've tried to explain this to my parents, um, because they go frequently to visit my brother and my stepbrother. And my mom keeps joking, even though Diva says they're not there. I'm like, they're not there. They've like, I can tell you right now, my stepbrother is in my parents' house in the corner of the dining room. Like he's always there. But they feel this need that they need to go visit them. I'm like, okay, well, that's for you. That's not for them.
I think this is one of the things that's really difficult as a medium and as clairvoyant, etc., that people don't actually realize. And I don't mean this rudely to people, is the fact of the reason why when you go into a graveyard and why we're saying to you that is the time you can feel them is because you then come spiritually aware of your own opening. You
Yeah,
open
yeah.
yourself up. So whereas we're open 24/7 and we're like, yeah, we don't care when they come to us, you guys, it seems like a graveyard is the place that people really open up and allow the
Hmm.
spirits in. And I know I had a guest on my paranormal and he showed me a photo of they were doing a ghost hunt with about 20 people in a graveyard, and they got this black figure pointing at the exit. And I was like, yeah, you've got the watchman. He is not happy.
Yeah.
I was like, I would run if I was you, because I don't mean it rudely. They're like 8 foot tall and they're scary.
Hmm.
They are scary. Like they're not, that's wrong to say. They're not really that scary, but when you piss them off, they're scary.
Oh yeah, they're not happy.
No, they do
Hmm.
not like there's not many graveyards now where they actually they're not there on the gates. There's not many. I know a couple of our older ones here in the UK where the bodies have sort of like over 100 plus years. There's not really one there now. There might be every now and again, the sort of one seems to turn up, but not as much. Um, but yeah, they are. I don't know what's going on with them at the minute because they're guarding churches at the minute.
Oh, interesting.
Here in the UK, they're guarding churches. I've seen them at churches, a lot of them,
Hmm.
and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Because usually they're not at churches. So I was like, I did a
No.
post about 7 months ago, and I was like, why is all the watchmen at churches in the UK? Like every church I've been near, there's a watchman. And I'm like, why? What's going on? Can someone inform me? But yeah, no one's been able to say why there would be watchmen
Wow.
near a
Oh,
church.
what's buried there? That's the question that comes to me. What's buried at these churches?
I may have to have a look at that because that's usually what they're protecting is the dead and helping them go through.
Hmm.
Mm. I might have to have a look at that because we've got a thing in the UK at the minute of this sounds really awful. You've most probably seen some of them. They've got a thing at the minute of going into the churches and digging up the bodies and moving them and stuff like that at the minute. There's so
Yeah.
that actually might explain a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
have a look at that. I'll have a look at that, Deva. Thank you, my lovely.
Yeah, no problem.
This is why these conversations are important as well, because they're not just important actually for you guys that are watching, they're actually important for us as well, because I think this is one thing that I've been trying to explain, that we all experience the other side different.
Hmm.
No clairvoyant, medium. We have similarities.
Hmm.
Like I was speaking to a lady a couple of weeks ago, and I said I see souls, and she sees auras, but they have the soul light to them as well. So like she'll see it as like a green, but then around the green there's either a white, grey, or black.
Oh,
So I was like,
wow.
oh my God, that's amazing. I want to do that. And she was like, why? And I was like, because that's the three colours that I see souls in. So that most probably explains a lot, as you know, the spiritual realm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm sort of like baffled at still your story in some ways because I'm bet like, so did they pass over? I've got to ask that. The ones in the basement.
They, I, there's a residual energy that they're there, right? That's where they felt protected. That's where they felt taken care of. So they didn't necessarily want to cross over. They were happy there and they were still together,
Oh, bless
right?
them.
It was a family of sorts. And um, there was I didn't feel scared for them. I didn't feel like there was peril. There was hope, right? There was hope that there was freedom at the end of their journey. Um, and
I
so
love.
that's the place they went back to, was in that space.
See, for me, I love that, and the reason why I love that is one, it shows one visitation. It shows that. Two, as well, with you saying residual, this is something I've not spoke a lot about actually, is so one of the things that I try and explain to people, I'm gonna have to cut that out, but someone's put their Christmas tree up already. Actually, I might leave that in so she knows that I've seen it because I know she'll be watching. Um, so yeah, so basically one of the things for me about residual energies, this is one of the things that actually I find, especially in the UK, because we've got a massive long history. I find a lot of people don't understand. And me as a child, I didn't understand residual energy either. So a lot of people come to me and say, my house is haunted. I don't understand it. I'll put my keys, it's only when I put my keys in this spot, and all of a sudden they go back to hanging up. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's because that's the building's energy. So basically, it's bringing the spirit in that remembers when it put its keys there that it hung them up. And people are like, what? So I'm glad you've brought that up in a way because I'm going to ask, what is your sort of experience with residual energy? Do you have them sort of things as well, where people find things are moving, but it's actually sort of the energy in the building? That's the only way I know how to explain it.
Well, and we sort of touched a bit on sort of the energy of all things. And so there is always energy no matter where we go, and we leave an imprint as well. And so I always explain it to people, have you ever walked into a room and you just know something's gone down? Like a couple has just had a fight, even though you didn't witness it, you can just feel something has happened. And so those imprint, and that's why places that have had extreme sadness, extreme death, that's why it holds this. energy that we feel when we visit. And I liken it to when I went to the Anne Frank house. Everybody was silent going through that. And because there's a heaviness there, there's an energy there. And even though there's not a spirit there communicating, there's an energy going through. We all know the story. We all read the book or at least know of it. So you know what transpired there and you feel it, even though there's no furniture in that room or in that apartment. And afterwards, my mom and I both felt we needed to just go and decompress because there's nothing that you can do afterwards that you feel is the right thing to do
Yeah.
to honor them to, right? Because you hold on to that energy and you carry it with you. So we went and had a tea and we had to talk about it because it almost makes you cry because you feel the heaviness that's there, right? Which I imagine
Yeah.
is the same at Ground Zero, is the same at Auschwitz, is the same in all these places around the world where, you know, atrocities have happened. Or a big one that resonates with me that makes me cry every time I think about it is the residential schools. Um, and just like I can almost hear people begging for to be freed, to be let go because they're stuck. And so their spirit may not consciously be there, but the imprint of them still exists.
Yes. See, now I love this because for us, so guys, if you don't know what residential schools are, I will explain a tiny bit because it's their stories are horrific. So I think for you guys, if you're in the UK to understand a little bit, is think of nunneries is the way to word it.
Mm,
So the
mhm,
UK's nunnery. So this is a place where, whereas for us it was working class people going into the workhouses, the nunneries, the working house, whatever name they put it under, just for so they could get state funding at the time is the way I'm going to word it. Um, that sort of thing, people going hungry, a lot of abuse, a hell of a lot of
yeah,
abuse. It was that sort of place. So think of workhouses slash nunneries. I think it'd depend whether you're in Ireland or England to which way you want to think of it. Um, them places are some of the hardest.
yeah,
I remember I walked into people always ask me where's the most haunted, and I would say would be them places because I remember
mhm,
walking into a can hear me getting quite emotional. I'm trying to say it, but it just won't come out.
mhm,
Um, Down south, in Cornwall, I used to spend a lot of time down there, and I remember walking into an old nunnery, and I can remember hearing, and we need to remember as well, it's not just the kids and the people that were stuck there that were treated badly. These nuns sadly they treat them badly because they were also treated badly. So they would be whipped every Sunday. If they even said one word while they were meant to be doing their silence, they were whipped for it. They were treated just as awful. And this isn't me saying anything against men, so please, they were treated just as awful by the men.
yeah,
And I remember walking in there, and the first thing I was oh, I'm so shaky because I can picture it to a T. The first thing I was introduced to was one of the what I call the grey nuns. They're the sort of starting out nuns, aren't they?
yeah,
And she was knelt on the floor and she got a whipping her back. And I literally was like, what the heck happened here? And I can remember holding tighter onto my nana. I think I was only about 11, 12 at the time. And my nana was just like looking at me like I was crazy because this place was now a museum as
mhm,
well. So it was like complete opposite end of the spectrum. Um, and what people don't realize is you can now see the emotion. That's that energy from that place left in me still to this day. And
Hmm.
this is what it does to us because I knew that none was no longer there because like you can feel it because it's like a video recording as well rather than
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
uh,
That's a great way to
yeah.
describe it.
So I knew she wasn't there. And then I had about three or four kids lined up against the wall with their hands out. So I knew they were getting the
Mm,
ruler, what we call the ruler, where they're getting their palms
yeah.
smacked, or the cane. Some people call it the cane. So I was literally like, and I just remember looking at my nanny going, Nanny, can we get out of here? And she went, but you've begged to come to this museum because I think it has some sort of theme there that I really wanted to see. And I went, I need to leave.
Yeah.
And that was literally all of that was residual. None
Yeah.
of it was even a spirit. It was, and oh, it just, even now, look, I'm getting all shaky and emotional because I can just, that energy imprints on us.
Yeah.
I
And
feel,
it's almost like a video in your mind. You can see the things that happened, and you're listening to the stories, or somebody's, on a tour is telling you. And the thing is that when you're tuned in, you're getting these flashes of, like a video, of the things that have happened there. And I almost feel like these souls are sharing that with you to understand the gravity, to understand the feeling behind it. And it's hugely emotional. I did a virtual tour of a residential school in Northern Ontario, and I had to take an hour afterwards to just remove myself, um, because I cried the whole time. I was crying. I just I mean, one, hearing it from them on the tour of what happened and how they were treated and what these kids went through, um, but also the things that I was seeing and experiencing from that different place. I was a mess.
it is so hard. And this is why when people say to me, this is why I'm glad you've brought up residual energy. Because a lot of people think the hardest thing is having a shadow man. I can deal with that. Give me a shadow
Mm,
man. Give me a daemon. Like give me a caress. I can deal with that.
yeah,
The hardest thing is residual energy
yeah,
because it is more real. It is like we're literally watching a film in our head.
yeah.
It's actually harder to deal with. Like you can see, guys, you
Hmm.
guys know, the followers know how much I watch. I do mediumship and stuff like that. And I can deal with their memories coming through and everything like that. But when you go to these places and you've literally got it played in your head,
Hmm.
especially as a child,
Hmm.
because when like I love going to castles and that. So when you're going to stuff like that and you've got it playing in your head, and let's just say 90% of these places are not nice places. There's not often actually much that actually happen nice there. And some of the things that are happening as a child you don't understand. So you're sort of like sat there and you're like, well, what's he doing to her? This is sort of hints to some of the stuff we sadly have to see.
Hmm.
And you're like, yeah, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
This isn't okay. You know instantly. But I do think as well, I think residual energy they leave behind, not just because obviously everything is energy. So even my desk is energy,
Hmm.
my couch is energy, everything is energy. But I feel like sometimes they leave, especially the negative behind, as a warning, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely something to learn from, but unfortunately, the people that need to learn that lesson are not the ones who are tuning into it or ignore it, as we're seeing happening in the world right now. Uh,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh. The problem, this is one of the things that I actually say to a lot of people. When you find someone that's spiritual, ask them how much money they've got in the bank. And people look at me and they go, "What?" And I'm like, when you meet someone spiritual, ask them if they're well off. And they look at me like I'm insane. And I go, no, what you'll find is the spiritual people would rather give you a free reading, come to your haunted house for free and help you compared to the, how do I word it nicely? Compared to these life coaches, that's the way I'm
Hmm.
going to word it, and these big dogs
Yeah.
who will charge you. I know someone that got charged the other week. We were doing a podcast, and one of the girls went, "Oh, I was charged £1,000 an hour to have my house cleansed of a haunting." And I was like, "What?" And she went, "Yeah," and it got worse after. And when she afterwards we spoke, and what the girl had gone in and done was she said told her there was four negative energies there, and I think she only took one with her in the jar. And I went, yeah, what she's done is she's took your protection one. I said, so the other three, which were the problem, she's left behind.
Oh
She's
my
actually
gosh.
took the one which was, even though they're negative, because they will feel negative to someone that's not. Please don't take this wrong way when I say this to anyone that's going to watch that's these Love and Light crew. Anyone that is not a natural and you've been trained. Sadly, I find they don't understand the difference in between spirits. So you can have a negative spirit that would feel negative, but what you actually are not feeling is it's negative as in a controlling, protective manner. So it's actually a
Yeah.
positive spirit in some sense.
Hmm.
Um, so they took that one because
Oh
that was the
boy.
one that easily come forward.
Of course. Of course.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, because it was trying to help you.
Yeah.
It was like it
Uh,
was trying to help you. It agreed to get rid of these other three and was most likely like, yeah, come on, let's go find them around the house. Let's go get rid of them. And you took her protection spirit. I'm like, oh,
mm,
no. And I think this is why I always say research who you're using.
yeah.
Like, even with tarot reading, like, I know you're a tarot reader as well, my lovely. Even with tarot reading, I watch some of these tarot readers and I'm like, you're not meant to go off the card's meaning. Oh, I've gave a secret out there. Oh, I've just realized that because I've never taught people that. That's actually my own secret. Yeah, the card's meaning mean fuck all.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They're really more of a guidance to the messages that you're receiving. And like I explained to you before, I have shelves of cards because to me they're like jewelry. I love collecting them and I find them interesting. But really, I use them because that's what people want to see.
Yeah,
That's what they want to connect with, not necessarily anything that I just may be able to tell them or say. Although when I do one-on-one readings, people do understand that. But when we use the cards, it's not about, like you said, it's not about the direct meaning. It's about that what comes up and what you feel is necessary to relay in that moment.
yeah, because this is one of the things that confuse people when I read. I'm like, hold on, I've got to see what's out to me because this cards are not making sense. So the card are actually has bits that come out to me or it move in a certain way. This sounds really insane, but the cards do actually move for me and stuff. Um, And I'm like, oh, right, that's what this is trying to tell them. So if it's like the Two of Pentacles, it's trying to tell them that it's sort of like a bit divided, needs to go to a new world, that sort of thing. And it's And this is one of the things that really frustrates me because I watch all these people go on these courses and get certificated, and I'm like, that is not what, that's why you can pick up a card deck, a normal card deck, and you can read tarot from that.
Yeah,
That is why you can even do that.
yeah,
I'm, I'm let out a secret.
yeah. But it's you're hitting the nail on the head. That's the thing. It's, I don't know, it seems to be the tool that people want to connect with more than really how useful it is.
And that scares me.
Yeah.
That scares me because so I've met a couple of people who are call themselves tarot readers, and I've literally gone to them to test them. I shouldn't be admitted to this. And I've literally gone into their TikTok lives to test them and have a tarot reader on an account that they don't know it's me. Um, I really shouldn't be admitting to this. Basically, I have been quite shocked. One, they got the reading completely wrong. So I
Hmm.
will admit that they could not feel who I was, which they should have been able to feel that I'm psychic. Um, for number one. Number two as well, the thing that shocked me was how it was literally to say like temperance. Oh, your life's very unbalanced. Okay, how is my life unbalanced? Oh, it's just unbalanced. The temperance card means it's unbalanced. Yeah, but how? Temperance card can also mean suicide. Am I suicidal? Do I need to get warning that someone near me is suicidal?
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, and it's like all of a sudden, I think I got called out. They were like, you know what you're doing, don't you? I was like, yeah, I
Hmm.
do. I was like, one, that card isn't even for me.
Hmm.
I was like, I've never pulled the temperance card out. Never ever have I had the
Hmm.
temperance card pulled out. I was like, two, where's the book? And she went, what? And I went, where's the book? She went, what do you mean? I says, you've just read exactly what's in the book.
Hmm.
And this is the problem. And then I went, three, can you deal with the mimic that's beside you that you've brought in because you're using tarot cards and not treating them correctly? And she went, what? I went, yep, the attachment that you've got by the side of you. I says that you're saying is your spirit guide helping you, but it's not. This is another thing people don't realize. If you're not treating your tarot cards correctly, if you're not respecting them,
Hmm.
they'll bring things in.
Yeah.
I'm just scaring everyone. I'm so sorry. I am really just realizing that I'm like petrifying everyone.
No, but I think it's good. It's almost like people are waking up to, oh, Ouija boards, I probably shouldn't mess with the Ouija board, right? Absolutely, because you don't know what you don't know. And so if you think that it's a game and you start messing around with that, you have no idea the repercussions of what that will be. And so it's the same thing with any spiritual talisman, right? You have to know what it represents, how to use it properly, the reverence and respect that is needed in going into it. And this is where it drives me nuts too when like you said, those who are true spiritual healers, ask them how much money they have in the bank because the ones who usually, not always, but they're the ones using it for spectacle, for show, and they don't really understand the repercussions down the road. And so it's like that card, right? Where she's reading it off the book, like you said. Whereas if we saw that, we would say there's an imbalance. And our connection, usually it's my spirit guides, would give me, yeah, there's a work-life balance that's not happening. And they're disengaging from their family start, right? And I'll go into detail about that because that card has then given me it really. It's an inn.
Yes.
It's an inn. And then my spirit guides take me from there and I'm able to tap in or tune in more.
Exactly that. And this is the thing that I think worries me. And this is why when my girls come to me, I always call them my girls. I hold my hands up, my followers. When they come to me, when any sparkler comes to me and they're like, "Oh, I want to get into tarot," and I'm like, "Oh, no, you don't." And I'm like, "You won't keep up the work. You can't even keep up meditation."
Hmm.
I'm like, if you can't keep up meditation and that connection with your spirit guides, you ain't going to be able to look after your tarot correctly. Like, I don't mean this rudely. Tarot deck for me personally is one of the most dangerous tools other than witchcraft. It is one of the most dangerous tools. It's actually more dangerous than Ouija boards to bring spirits in.
Mm,
Like, there's a chance you're not going to bring a spirit in with a Ouija board. It's sort of like a 50-50 chance.
hmm.
Tarot, no matter what, I don't know what it is with spirits, they love it. Like
Yeah.
they love, and this is one of the things that I get quite shocked when you sound like me that you've been doing it years rather than just a couple of, um, I've spoke to a lot at the minute, which sort of learn within the last 5, 6 years, and I'm like, yeah, I've been doing it since I was 18. And I speak to them and they say about cleansing their cards. Like, I'm obsessive about cleansing my cards, by the way.
Hmm.
Every time I use them for a reading, they're cleansed straight after.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I am like, it is, and this is the thing, tarot takes a lot of work. Oh,
Hmm.
I'm loving talking to someone that understands this. Because I think a lot of because of people that I talk to, I think a lot of like even with Sam, I absolutely adore Sam. There's another lady that I spoke to. She won't touch tarot. She can feel how dark it is. She'll touch oracle cards, but she
Yeah.
can feel how dark tarot is. Tarot is dark.
Yeah. Tarot's not my go-to. I'll use it once in a while if somebody's adamant or really wants that, but I think I have two tarot decks and I've got about, I don't know, 50 Oracle different. I seriously, I collect them like jewelry because I'm like, oh, this is pretty. These are nice. And I look at the artwork and I look at what goes in into some of them. Some of them are beautiful. Um, but
Yeah, because
tarot,
that's
yeah, no, not as much.
no. See, I respect that when I speak to people because people are often quite shocked at me the fact that I mainly use tarot. I don't actually use, and I'm a white light, and I'm like, yeah, but I think that shows the respect I've got for my tarot deck
Hmm. Yeah.
because I literally, no one touches my cards. So when
Yeah.
I watch these tarot deck readers and they pass their cards over to their client, I'm like, fuck are you doing? Excuse the French, but that deserves French.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Not even my kids and my husband. Like they
Yeah.
will literally say to me, "Oh, you've left your tarot deck um in the way. We need to get to something on my desk." And I'll be like, "Right, okay, let me come and clean it up." They won't even touch, even if
That's
their
good.
pinky touches my tarot deck. They're like, "Right, mum, you need to cleanse it." Like they just won't, yeah. And I think this is something that a lot of people, I'm just loving the fact you understand tarot. I'm like, this has really excited me because I think a lot of people, they don't get how it holds energy.
Hmm.
We're going back to energy again, guys, here. Everything's energy. See, this is
I
what I'm
was just
talking
gonna
about.
say everything. Yeah.
It's all energy in it. So when you're getting these questions like, does Harry love me? Does um am I going to be a millionaire? When you're getting these silly questions, and I'm sorry to apologize, but they are silly. When you're getting these questions, that energy from that question stays on that tarot deck. So if you've got about 100 negative questions, which the tarot deck does view them questions as negative. It's like, why are you wasting my time?
Hmm.
It's like you're just building that energy up on it.
Hmm.
And then as that builds, that's when you can, something can invite itself in. It's like, oh, let's go play.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm loving
Well,
this.
there's a vulnerability to it that opens them up to that. And that's what those negative entities are looking for. They're looking for that moment of vulnerability to enter through, right? And people need to understand the power of words, that there are energy in the words that you say. So be careful of the questions you ask because the universe will answer. And it may not be the answer you expect. So,
Especially because them words mean different things to different people. So if you're saying, does Harry love me? Harry might actually see love in a negative thing because his parents beat the hell out of him and he's sat in a corner crying. So he doesn't understand love.
yeah,
So his love transmutes into, well, you're not hitting me, so you mustn't love me. So
right.
that's why he's leaving you. That's why he's abandoning you. So this is one of the things that I think for me, I love what you've said there. It's just perfect because it's that love for everyone is different.
Hmm.
So that word love has about 70 million different formats. Um, and it can also be a negative thing for people.
Hmm. And we have to ask what serves my best and highest good, right? Everything happens for a reason. And I know it sounds trite and but it's true. And so oftentimes when life doesn't go the way I expect or I hope it to go, as humbling as that is, I sometimes have to take a step back and go, okay, what is in my best and highest good? What am I meant to learn from this? And how do I move forward in a positive way? And that's the energy I have to constantly remind myself to put out because not everything is for us.
See, this is another thing that I think people don't understand and don't see, especially like when they're coming to people like us. When we talk in our, as I get told, riddles, um, I get told that all the time. I'm like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, how do I explain it in normal words? Because I think people don't realize we're not getting it in normal words. We're getting it in
Hmm.
riddles, but we can feel what it means. So when we're transforming it to you, it's hard to put it into words, what it actually means.
Hmm.
Um, and this is one of the things that for me personally, I find really difficult because when you're speaking to people that aren't as spiritual as us, oh no, that sounds awful, don't it?
Well, I think there's different levels. There are different ways people tap in, and some are just opening up to their abilities, and everybody has the ability. And I want everybody to know and understand that we all have intuitive abilities, but it's like playing piano. Everybody has the ability to play piano. Some will pick it up very quickly. Others will have to work really hard at piecing that together. And how much effort you put into it will often be affect the end result.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I think that's the thing because when you're talking about people like myself and yourself, I've been doing this over 20 years. I don't know why, but I get the feeling yours is actually longer than mine. Do you know what I mean? And it's like when you've been doing it, well, my seeing dead people's 40 years now. God, I'm
Yeah.
old. Um, but my tarot, like I started it 22 years ago now. God, honestly, I like to make myself feel old. I think it's because I like to reassure people. So when we're talking about this, I like to reassure people because a lot of the YouTubers, a lot of the people on social media, they aren't like us, where they've been doing it years. They've just seen, oh, this is what's trending.
Yeah.
Alpha bar. This is what's
Yeah.
trending.
Yeah.
Let me get into it. And it's like, oh no, because it takes you are dead on. I couldn't do a proper tarot reading the way I can now for the first 10 years.
Hmm.
For the first 10 years of doing tarot. And what was stopping me was the fact I kept reading for myself. And I didn't know that I was never meant to read for yourself.
Hmm.
So that was the first shock. That is a major difference. If you read an oracle, you can read for yourself, guys.
Hmm.
Tarot, you can't.
Yeah.
And it actually puts a lot of negative energy into your cards when you read for yourself.
Hmm.
A lot of negative energy.
Yeah. Although using the Oracle deck to read for yourself, that's a great way to practice too. That's how I started with the decks, is I every day I would ask my spirit guides what is meant for me today, and I would, what deck resonated with me, and I would, you know, shuffle the cards, and whatever jumped out was what was meant for me, or whatever it was that day. But if that was a way for me to experience, to connect with my spirit guides, to really, hone into the messages that were coming. And it was scary on a daily basis. I was like, oh yeah, I needed to hear that today. Right. And so we start honing our skills because we start tapping into the power of those cards and how they resonate with us, and how we can transfer that when we're doing it for somebody else versus ourselves as well.
I love that. And the reason I love that is because Oracle aren't as dangerous as Tarot.
Yeah.
I would have never ever thought of suggesting Oracle. Never would have thought of saying, look, have a look at Oracle in a million years. I'm going to hold my hands up. I really wouldn't have done. So I'm like, oh, that is actually the perfect way to learn.
Hmm.
Oracle is. It's not as harsh. It doesn't collect spirits as much as what tarot does. I will admit the downside, which a lot of people use tarot for, is to speak to the dead. For me personally, I don't find you can do that as well with Oracle. Um, so there is sort of like then downsides, but to start out, that is perfect. It's a bit like pendulum. I'm like, if you want
Hmm.
to start out with mediumship, get a pendulum first. Make
Hmm.
sure you cleanse it. Make sure you close your circle around you, your white light circle around you when you're starting out and stuff like that. These little tools like the oracle cards, the pendulum, they give us access to our intuition, is the way I'm going to
Hmm.
word it, and to the spirit guides, of course, meditation, um,
Yeah.
that actually aren't as negative as things like Ouija boards, um,
Yeah.
spirit boards. I'm going to add spirit boards in there because people have got obsessed with changing the name. Tarot cards, they aren't as dark as what they are. And it's like I was showing off on the other day on a live, and literally I picked up, one of them tea caddies to make your teas that you put the thing in. Picked up.
See me chuffing face.
Right, so this is her holding this.
I am checking, guys.
She's shaking, which is natural, but as you can see, it stays still, right? Even with shaking.
Ow.
I'm gonna put my thing on my leg so you can see that I'm not. Turns into a fucking pendulum. As soon as I touch it, turns into a pendulum. We've tried it with everyone. No one else, it turns into a pendulum. I don't know what power I've got. Can you stop?
Me, it's Callie.
Not you. There we go. So there's my natural shaking. You can continue going round if you want. It does say yes as well. There. I can tell it what to do. It started swinging in a pendulum. I'm like, I can control it. Like, I now can't use pendulums because I can control it.
Mm.
So I'm like, I can control your message. It's got to a point now where it's like, I can. That sounds awful, don't it?
No, but it's again, it's energy. And so sometimes when your energy is that powerful and you know and can admit that, yeah, nope,
Well, we
it's now
test,
beyond.
yeah, because we tested it. My daughter held it up. It wasn't going into a circle straight away. My husband held it, and as soon as I took it off all of them or even touched their finger, it just straight away started swinging. And I was like, sugar. And I was like, yeah, I can make this say yes, I can make it say no. And I was like, this is scary actually that I can control it this way.
Hmm.
And this is what we mean by practice, guys, and finding the tools that aren't dark energy, that collect good energy.
Hmm. And the
Some,
tools that work for you, which is why everybody does it slightly differently.
oh yes, because this is something people don't get is our gifts are all different.
Hmm.
So like my card reading is linked with Apollon, because he's the god of clairvoyance. So my I'm linked with him. But then my messages from the dead as well, when I get messages from the dead, because I only get messages when people need them, are brought by Hermes. So my mediumship would be very different in a way. That's for ones that are past, not here in this realm. And I think that would work very different from yours because it's more from the spirit guides, etc.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is, I love the fact you brought that up. Oh my God, do you know what? I'm look at the time and I'm like, I could carry on for hours. I really could because for me, this is such an important chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Especially for people who are coming into our spiritual world, who are taking note of these people which have been in the spiritual world for 5 minutes. And I feel awful because it's a bit like, you get your new neighbour that moves into that tiny village. And
Hmm.
then you've got
Hmm.
everyone that's had families there for generations. I've been that new person and it feels horrible. So I do feel really mean, but at the same time, I'm like, I can now understand them families that were there for generations. It's a safety aspect.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah. Right, my lovely. Could I? So, guys, I'm definitely going to have to get Deva back on because this conversation needs more. Do pop your questions in the live chat below or in the comment box below, and we will make a list and I will get beautiful Shawnee to get Deva back on because I think this is going to be definitely going to be a two-parter because there's so much more. I wanted to get as much as I could in, if you couldn't
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much left unsaid.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
I feel like there's so much left unsaid, and it's like I can
It's so
feel
fun to connect with somebody who's, like you said, we're on the same wavelength. And so when you can connect with somebody, because like you said, there are so many out there who've been in it for a minute and s- they're probably making more money than I am because they know how to do a video better than I do, or I don't know. I unapologetically do what I can, and I don't know what I'm doing. I constantly say that, and I'm okay with that. But when you can connect with somebody who's in tune and understands, it's so great to have that conversation because when people don't understand, I feel like it can get so tiring trying to explain it to people.
it can, especially for me personally, especially when I'm trying to explain to people where I am spiritually and stuff like that. And I've got to be cautious what I'm saying because I don't want to upset any past guests. But when I've had guests on afterwards and before, when I've been speaking to them, you can tell it's all about the money rather than actually sharing the spiritual message. So for me, it's like when I meet people who are actually more interested in sharing a spiritual message like me, I'm like, come here, come to
Yeah.
the group. And I think that's the thing. And the problem is a lot of the ones which aren't about spreading a spiritual message they've not got the spirit guides like us, which are in our ear going, it's not about the money.
Hmm.
You've now taught someone, you've now helped someone, you've now done this. And you're like, yeah, but I've got a house, I've got food.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yep, I have bills.
It does feel like that. So it's like, I think this is why, in some ways, we've turned to this influencer route because it's like we're having to. We ain't got a
Yeah.
choice. Um, and I when I meet people like yourself, I love it because for me, I think it's shows I'm not the only one listening to my spirit guides, is the way I'm going to word it.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
especially as I struggle a lot with, I struggle a lot with the people which are saying they're spiritual and they're not. I really, I have a major problem with it.
Yeah, I do
Um,
too.
yeah, especially this Love Light crew.
Hmm.
I have a major issue with them.
Yeah,
And not one of them will take it up with me. Not what I've asked them on TikTok. I've gone, come with me one on one.
yeah,
Come with me on one because they are training and giving so much information that's dangerous.
yes,
And it's so worrying.
yeah,
Because believe me, guys, right? If you're going to go to one of these to be trained, don't. I'd rather you message myself or Deva. To be honest, Deva, because I'm pretty busy. I do apologise, love you all. I do apologise. But Deva, her details will be down below, guys. Um, because I don't mean this rudely when I say this to them. Um, I have literally asked them, I've gone, come at me, come with me, come at me. And not one of them's dared to come on the podcast yet. Not one of
yeah.
them. And
And
I've
I
actually,
that to me speaks volumes,
hmm
right? What does that tell you? A lot.
exactly. Because it's like I sit there and I come at one day and I was like, what you're doing is bloody dangerous.
Hmm.
Teaching them, you're training these students that there's only light. I said, there's no wonder you're having them to cleanse them off and getting more money off them. I says, because they don't know how to protect themselves against darkness.
Yeah.
I says, and there's not just the shadow men. You've got things like the caress demons or daemon
Hmm.
that are there. You've got things like, oh, the ones that crawl along the floor.
Mm.
You know, and I'm like, they see someone that goes, oh, it's all love and light. It's all lovely. And they're like, hello.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden their life's spiraling out of control. And that's because you've taught them so wrong.
Yeah.
I've had people come to me because they've gone to this Love and Light crew and they've come to me after and gone, can you get rid of my attack? Can you sort this out? And I was like, oh, did it happen? Did you get the attachment that I warned you about? Because it weren't your granddad coming through. And they went, yeah, how did you know? And I went, I can see it.
Hmm.
I says, because I'm not this Love and Light crew, I see the truth.
Yeah.
And it's not love and light.
Yeah. No, it's not. And it can be very dangerous. I did a clearing once for a woman and I was it was up on video and somebody was holding the video towards him. It's almost like there's a succubus, which I had not had any experience with personally at that point. But I was like, I see this succubus. And she goes, oh, I called that in. And I was like, oh, geez, why? Why? Like, there was so much there because she was playing around and calling things in, thinking that she could help. And it was, yeah, it was a
It's
mess.
it's crazy. I don't get it because this is I hold my hands up, so I don't usually go to places unless I can cleanse them. Haunted places. But for my paranormal channel, actually I'm gonna be honest, for my own research. So for my own research, because I usually cleanse if there's a demon around or something, I usually straight away cleanse it. So I'm now going to haunted places for my own research because I want to understand them.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to cleanse them places or do exorcisms. So I've sort of got to hold the urge. So we went to 30 East Drive and literally I learned so much there, like how they're actually using it as a temple. So even me mentioning it now is giving it worship. And I was like,
Oh.
oh, smart. I hold my hands up. I was a bit like, you smart arsehole, and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But this again is because people, it's a cursed land. The land it's on is cursed. And people have trapped it in this house, is the way I'm going to word it. And this is one of the things that for me personally is a massive worry because people are messing with stuff that they don't understand.
Yeah.
It's and so just for you guys thinking when you go to these love and light mediums that you can get away with it and it won't affect you, etc. You know, it will. They can cause you to have an attachment. So if you've gone to them and they've gone, oh, Dad's here and he's telling me this, he's telling me that, he's telling me this. Spirits can read your mind. Spirits can read your mind. This is one of the problems. It's a bit like my husband, Deva, right? We were watching a film the other day on exorcisms, and he went, oh, it says, when we finally ever get to do a proper one like that. I was like, right, okay. If there is ever one like that, do you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
Catholic exorcisms. um, I said to him, you can't come in. And he went, why? And I said, because you couldn't take what that's going to say to you.
Mm.
You would not take what that's going to say to you. It can read your mind. That's how these daemon, when the Catholics are saying, oh, it knows everything because it's in the spiritual realm, it's not that. It can read your mind. So it knows everything because as it builds up your fear and it builds up your pain, it's reading your mind. So things like one of the things that when I wasn't here, it could possibly say to me was, it's going to happen to your daughters. So that'd be one of the things it could say to me.
Mhm.
So it's like for me, and I'll get this fear up. Oh my goodness, that's going to happen to my daughters. This demon's going to make sure it's going to happen. And that's what it does.
Yeah. Yeah. It plays on your fear.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I don't get why people are calling it in.
I know. I know. I don't get it either. And I ask my spiritual team to protect me from that. And as much as they do, it it's inevitable, right? And that's the thing, is people have to understand as much as you want to dabble in love and light, there's a yin and yang to everything. So I can ask my spiritual team to protect me against the evil entities, the negative entities, whatever, but it comes at a cost. And you have to understand with the good, you have to understand for your own safety the bad.
This is what now you can see why I'm going into these haunted places to understand the bad. Because I'm like,
Yes.
I need to understand this. And this is, I love what you've said there because I always talk about yin and yang with everyone because that is the main key to energy. Let's be honest, it is the main key to energy. Um, and this is one of the things that so my yin and yang, you most probably heard me mention Sam and Colby. I know my followers would have done. Colby is the light, Sam is the darkness. So my yin and yang is me and my husband. So I am the pure white, he's the darkness. He's not black, but he is murky. Um, and he actually is the one that gets the attachments.
Mm,
So I'm often having to sort him out
right.
because that is the yin and yang, it's karma for me
Yeah.
being so well protected, being so white. Oh, I love this chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like because this is the important stuff that
Yeah.
people, don't get when we go into it, like witchcraft. people have come to me and they say, "Oh, I want to do a love spell." I'm like, "No,
Hmm.
run in the opposite direction," because I'm like, you don't realize how much that's going to backfire.
Yeah.
Like, they're not good because if you're going to pull someone that's meant to be someone else's soulmate to you, you're going to cause the an unbalance in the world, in the universe, if
Hmm.
you're going to force that on. And this is a thing. Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Right, I do apologize, lovely. I've absolutely loved this. Um, Deva, would you mind doing us a statement out, my lovely?
Sure. Whew. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A statement out. Um, I say this often, and I mean it's a life lesson that I think still holds true to me today, and I share it as much as I can, is um, we have to understand that fear holds us back. And sometimes when we accept that there will always be fear, we will always fear something. My mantra from the time I was 10 years old has always been count to three, jump on two. And I was 10 years old, stuck on a high diving board, and I couldn't go back down the ladder because the kids were climbing up the ladder. I had no way out but off that diving board, but I was petrified. And so I counted to three, but my body leapt before I got to three. And it was in that moment that I realized that count to three, jump on two was a good way to do life because when you jump on two, you're already in it before your brain realizes that you are. And sometimes we need to take that leap of faith and we need to find that courage and do it anyway. And so I guess that's my message to everybody is count to three, jump on two, and see what life has for you.
I love that. The guys know I'm always talking about fear, and fear is actually one of the things that blackens your soul because fear causes judgment.
Yeah.
And what they don't realize, I say to them, there is a good fear, which is to keep us safe. But when we're going past that, we've got an issue. I love that. Oh, I love that
Mhm.
so much. Love it. Thank you, Sparklers, so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you are on the live chat, don't forget to say hi. And also, guys, why did I forget my expression? Also, guys, don't forget to keep sparkling.